Michigan, Texas. Des, how concerned are you about Michigan's quarterback situation?
Well, if you look at what took place last week against Fresno State, you knew coming into the game, the big storyline was the quarterback battle throughout camp. Alex Orji or Davis Warren, which one was it going to be? And so Sharon, he implemented a two-quarterback system where he was playing both quarterbacks. But before we get to the quarterbacks, you have to start really with the offensive line. 5 new starters, those guys trying to gel at the same time against a Fresno State team. That's a pretty talented team. So there were some bumps, some bruises, some hiccups, things that we aren't used to seeing from a Michigan offense. And I think, I don't know this, by talking to any coaches, but if I was a head coach going up against Fresno State, knowing the next week we have to play host to the Longhorns, I'm not going to show a lot. I'm trying to see what I have. And I think that was kind of like what went on last Saturday night against Fresno State. But with that being said, they're going to have to play much better come tomorrow afternoon against the Longhorns because, those guys are loaded. We saw what they did a week ago against Colorado State. And I think that now they had one game to get, used to each other, identifying blitzes and backers and things of that nature as far as the offensive line. I'm assuming they're going to take the next step forward and play better against the Longhorns.
Well, why the hell would you make that assumption? Other than your affinity for obviously the program you starred in, because I'm like your quarterback went in the first round. Okay, you got a walk-on, right. Great story, overcame leukemia from high school and stuff like that. Great story involving Davis Warren. Yeah. Wishing him nothing but the best. But you also lost 6 offensive linemen, 6 of your best offensive linemen. Why in the hell would you assume that things are going to get better against Texas?
Well, it's not necessarily against Texas, it's just the next opponent. You would think that, okay, game 1, there's going to be some hiccups, there are going to be some issues, and we're going to work that out throughout the week and then get better to game 2, no matter who the opponent is. It's just so happened that they're about to play, one of the best teams in the country, one of the teams who a lot of people think will either win or contend for the SEC championship, if not the national championship. So it's just a natural progression that you would assume based on game 1 to game 2 with the new offensive line. But no, you're right. They lost a lot of talent and a lot of experience on their offensive line. But Stephen A., I'm one of those guys who I don't think you just need to look good against, Eastern Michigan or Arkansas Pine Bluff. When you sign your letter of intent to play at Michigan and you're going to be an offensive lineman, you understand that you're going to a culture that their whole identity is smash. You're going to a culture where their whole identity is we were the back-to-back offensive line of the year, the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line of the year in back-to-back seasons. So you understand that it's important that you're going to play a position as a position group where there's a big emphasis on playing to a high standard. So I don't care if it's Fresno State, I don't care if it's Texas, whoever it is, you signed that letter of intent, you understood what you were getting yourself into.
Yeah. I feel you on that, but the flip side to that, Des, is this, man. You can do but only so much blocking. The quarterback is a walk-on from back in the day. He's there now. He completed passes to his tight end, Loveland. He completed that passes to him. But your wide receivers scored 6 catches for just 34 yards. If cats ain't open, how much blocking is going to work?
Yeah.
Cats ain't open.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. The receivers are going to have to help out their young quarterback, Davis Warren, or Alex Orji if he's in the game. And, but before you get to the receivers, they have to run the ball consistently. That's their MO. That's who Michigan is at the core of their DNA. They want to run the ball effectively. Yep. And I think Donovan Edwards, he's going to have to play a big role, not only as a running back, but he's an excellent receiver out of the backfield, too. And then Khalil Mullings, who came in and ran the ball with a purpose, ran the ball extremely hard against Fresno State. Michigan, recently, when they became, very relevant, they had a 2 running back attack system. And that's what they're going to have to make sure they're able to implement because it's all about time of possession and ball control. Texas wants to turn this into a 4-by-1 relay. Michigan wants this to be a marathon.
Yep. Des, I want to turn our attention to Colorado versus Nebraska, another good one. Are you expecting more from Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Raiola this week?
I mean, that's a tough question when you say more. I just think Shedeur needs to be Shedeur. He's one of the top quarterbacks in football. He's proven that year in and year out. We look at Raiola, he's a young guy. He's a newbie. The crazy thing is I actually played with his dad, Dominic, with the Detroit Lions. His dad was the nicest, coolest guy, fantastic teammate. But when he got on that gridiron, he was a dog. So I know his son has some of that in him, too. So I think that when you look at a freshman quarterback, you want to see if you can confuse him defensively, show him some looks that he's never seen, and see how he handles pressure. So I think that that's going to be the game plan for Colorado's defense, is to show this young quarterback some looks that he hasn't seen before, see how he responds to pressure, and then go from there.
How much